It is my very distinct honor to announce this year's Hawley-Jarvis Award winner. This would be a somewhat difficult and emotional award, so if you don't mind, I think I would like to read directly. First, a little bit about the award. In 1989, Dr. Richard Hawley, headmaster of the University School in the United States in Cleveland, and Reverend Tony Jarvis, headmaster of the Roxbury Latin School, met to discuss the mutual concerns for the future direction of boys' schools. As a result, they formed a group of similarly concerned schools and leaders of boys' schools to broaden the conversation and share ideas. Under their leadership, the group founded the International Boys' School Coalition in 1995 with the goal to celebrate the lives and education of boys. Both experienced school leaders and master teachers, Hawley and Jarvis, embody the spirit of servant leadership that inspires IBSC's work. In 2015, the IBSC Board of Trustees created this award to honor those whose selfless service furthers best practices in boys' education and in the professional development of those who educate boys. This award is presented to an IBSC member school employee who has faithfully offered transformational service to the IBSC for at least 2 years. This year's recipient is presented to Selwyn House's own Minna Schulman. Let me describe briefly and insufficiently Minna's background. Dean of Students Minna Schulman retires this summer after 20 years at the Selwyn House School. She moved to Canada in the late 80s from New York City, where she headed programs and services for domestic violence victims, their abusers, and their children. In the spirit of Tony Jarvis and Richard Hawley, Schulman's written job description given to her by her beloved headmaster, Hal Hannaford, ensures the entire Selwyn House community feels loved and known. A social worker and counselor by training, Schulman has always loved children, especially those who do not always comply, and generally sees several sides of most issues and keenly finds ways to support others. From the first IBSC regional conference she attended, something clicked. Schulman quickly became involved in other regional conferences, joined the Board of Trustees of the IBSC, headed the IBSC Research Committee, and she worked with the committee on projects involving relational teaching, frameworks for character education, situational judgment, assessments of the faculty, and a framework for creating a sex-positive, boy-positive sexual citizenship curriculum. In 2017, Schulman and a team from the Selwyn House hosted the first IBSC regional conference, enhancing boys' lives through the arts. Familiar ring to that? The success of this conference gave them the confidence to bid, and that's why we're now here. We thank Minna for her significant efforts focused on boys worldwide. It has been a true privilege to be able to work with her. Please join me in both recognizing and thanking Minna for her outstanding contributions and as the 2019 Hawley-Jarvis Award recipient.
Thank you very much. It's such an honor and a pleasure to receive an award from an organization that has helped me grow, both professionally, I'm going to cry, sorry, and personally. My experience, as David said, started with the IBSC through Hal Hannaford. It was a small push. He wanted me to get involved in regional conferences. And my first one, I was so impressed with the organization, from the buses that picked us up in the hotel, to the bar that was ready for us, to the content of the conference itself. And I really was so impressed with Brad Adams and all the work that he had done that it was easy for me to want to get involved. But then there was a big push because Hal was asked to be on the board of trustees. And can you imagine Hal sitting through that many board meetings and working on that? Anyway, there was no way. So in his stead, he pushed me to take his place, to represent Selwyn House and Montreal at the IBSC. And so much of what Sonia said about nuts was my experience in my first IBSC Board of Trustees meeting. It happened at the end of the conference in London. I was surrounded by very friendly, but very male bodies. There was just one other woman. She was not a headmaster. She was a counselor advisor like me. And I immediately had my knee-jerk reaction that I don't belong, I don't fit, I can't do this. I grew up with 4 brothers. My father was in a business with his 4 brothers. It was called Schulman Brothers. There was just very little room for that little girl to know where her voice was going to be able to be heard. And going to the IBSC Board of Trustees meeting sent me right back to the dinner table at my house. So I was really nuts. Sonia's nuts really worked. In fact, I hid in my room during cocktail hour, so you can imagine what it was like. Luckily, I had one ally, Garth Wynn, and he and I had done an exchange for some of our teachers already, so I at least had one friend in the group. And through the encouragement of Brad Adams and also Joe Cox, I kind of got my sea legs. They really said I could do it, I was making a difference, I could be part of the mastery teacher, the sessions we developed on mastery, the art of mastering teaching boys. Brad got me very involved in that, and then Joe really pushed me to be the head of the research committee. I know nothing about research, but I do know how to work on a committee, and that was really great. So by the time that Amy and David came along, I was feeling much more comfortable. I had my sea legs. I no longer thought of myself as that token. I had really seen myself as the token woman, the token helping professional, the token non-head of school, the token Jewish person, the token old person, and the token non-athlete. Because I would get up in the morning, these guys would come in for the hotel from the board meetings or whatever, and they were all sweating. They'd all been working out. Not me. That was not what I was doing. Anyway, luckily, I learned, and I kind of grew into my place. I learned my place, and I loved growing professionally with this wonderful, talented, committed group of men. And eventually, there were a few more women, such as Sherry Rusher and Di Laycock, and there is room for more. I do have a message for us all today, and it's not just that there need to be more women on the Board of Trustees and there need to be more women in the leadership of boys' schools. I have a different message that I think we all know, but we need to hear. We play such a vital role in the lives of the boys that we spend our days with, and for many of us like me, that we spend our nights worrying about. Yes, these boys will likely be tomorrow's leaders, but more importantly, they're going to be tomorrow's fathers. They're going to be tomorrow's partners in love. And we have the great privilege and responsibility to nurture and guide these boys and men, and we have the greatest resources within us. We have our hearts, we have our love, we know the importance of connection and relationships, and we know that it takes so little effort to reach out and touch the hearts of most of the children that we encounter. As Hal has taught us at Selwyn House, we need to be true to ourselves, we need to be true to others, and we need to be true to our schools. We need to refuse to use sarcasm and humiliation to one-up our students. We need to remember to treat everyone the way we wish to be treated. We need to focus on what is really important: a child's sense of well-being, his confidence, his worthiness of love and respect. Our hearts and our endless love are really our school's greatest resources. And we know that our students respond to our genuine care and concern with open hearts, growing empathy, and compassion. I thank you all for this honor. I thank you for allowing Selwyn House to realize our dream of giving back to the IBSC and to be able to host this conference. And I have a very special thank you to Amy Ahart for being our day-to-day leader on all details, big and small. I wish you a wonderful time in Montreal. Thank you.